Hi, friends, and welcome to this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life. This is Kristy Harang, Director of Operations for Thrive Today, and I'm stepping in temporarily for Chris Corsi for this longer series that we're doing of interviews with our Thrive Today team, with some of the trainers from our Thrive Premier training, as well as a couple of our volunteers. And I am loving doing these interviews. It's so much fun for a couple of reasons. One, our team is incredible. I love getting to hang out with them and talk with them. And I'm so excited for all of you guys to get to know them a little bit better and to hear how relational skills are impacting our lives. Because I think one of the things that makes our team really sweet is that we don't just tell people about these things, we don't just train about them, we actually live them out and implement what we're learning and what we're teaching about in our everyday lives. So today, I'm really excited to have Jason Strauss with us. He oversees the coordinating of our online events, and he also offers customer service for our online courses. So Jason, thanks for being with us today.
Yeah, thanks for allowing me to share some thoughts.
Yeah, I'm very looking forward to it. We were just having a little chat before we started, and I'm really excited for you to hear what Jason has to share. First of all, can you give us just a little intro into how you got to know about Thrive Today and relational skills in the first place?
Yes, yes. We were very thankful on a trip in probably it was the summer of 22. We learned of the book called The Other Half of Church from a friend while we were on a trip. And after that, my wife Betsy, started researching Life Model and found Thrive and the Joy Switch.
Hmm.
And we were just this summer after that, we were really looking for hope, honestly. And so we listened to it. Actually, we we listened to it on an anniversary trip that we were
Oh,
on. We were so encouraged by it, and so we ended up attending a Transform conference that Life Model puts on. We attended it online, so we just watched it from home. It was in Denver, and we're in Texas, and so we learned from watching that who Thrive, a little more about Thrive and the differences between Life Model and Thrive and others. And so that's how we got connected there, and we began to learn some of the skills a little more, and as the Lord led, we saw that there was an opening, and I am happy to be working for Thrive now. So it's been really, really good for us as a family and for me personally.
awesome. Well, it's been a joy for us to have you on the team. We've really, really loved having you. So, um, Jason, we're going to talk a little bit about a skill that's making an impact in your life. And that skill we're going to talk about is relational circuits,
Mm.
skill zero. So I just want to mention to our audience a couple things before I have you jump in and share with us. The first is that Chris did an episode, I think it's episode 6 on this skill if people want to go back and listen to it and learn a little bit more about it. But just to get us all on the same page, let's define some terms. So, relational circuits is the term that we use, that Life Model uses for this part of the right side of our brain that oversees our ability to experience joy and to engage with God and with the world around us. So essentially, when this part of our brain is on and working properly, we can better, again, experience joy. We can engage with other people or connect with other people in healthier, more life-giving ways. And when these circuits aren't running properly, then we really struggle being our best true selves. And that's where relational challenges really start to arise. So the relational circuit skill essentially is the ability to be aware of what's going on with our relational circuits. Are they on? Are they off? Are they dimming? And this skill also helps us to get them back on when they've come off. And Jason, I know we were chatting a little, but I feel like this skill's such a game changer because it gives words and explanations to things that we all encounter, like in ourselves and in other people on a regular basis. But that awareness and an ability to understand, oh, that's what's going on. I feel like that's such a game changer for our relationships.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's such a game changer. It definitely has been for me. I mean, because it gives me, yeah, like the terminology has been helpful, but I'm finding that I am feeling more empowered actually to actually steward what God has given in my body, and my thoughts. Like I'm not the sum of my emotions or experiences, right? My body's not in charge of me. My thoughts are not in charge of me. I am in charge of them. Like I'm it's given
Mm,
to me to steward those things. And so as I learned to notice my brain's like relational state, I'm learning like to care for the gift of my body.
mm,
And I'm discovering that when my brain's like in a compromised relational state, I'm actually miserable.
mm.
And I really enjoy being myself. You know, I'm finding that out.
Yeah.
And just that it's super important to notice when I'm not feeling like myself.
Mm,
Um, and so I just I want to learn more and more to do that because like again, I know I have a say in how miserable I feel or not. And I can be intentional about how I respond to what I'm experiencing and just practicing awareness of my relational circuits is a first step.
yeah.
And so very thankful.
So, Jason, you mentioned like, okay, I like being me. I like being my best self. And so what are you noticing, like as you've developed this skill, what have you noticed about tip-offs of your relational circuits being off and like what it doesn't look like when you're being your best self versus what it looks like when they're on and you are being your best self?
Hmm. Yeah, my I have some tip offs, yeah, that I've noticed. Like for my in my body, I notice that my head starts to tighten up. I start to feel more short in my breath,
Mm,
and my shoulders kind of go up, and it feels like anxiety a little bit to me, and I think that's primarily what's happening a lot of the times. Um, but it could be, you know, just when like the other day, I was experiencing this, and I wasn't feeling like myself because I was feeling sick.
mm,
Um, and as I started feeling sick, I started noticing that, man, I was just upset that I couldn't do the things that I wanted to do, that I actually needed help with stuff, that, uh, yeah, I was just feeling frustrated, I think. And so some of those things were kind of tipping me off that there's something not right here. Like I'm not feeling at peace. I'm not feeling like I'm really connected to others. I'm just sort of spiraling in my negative thoughts about what's going on with me right now.
yeah.
And so that led me to think, okay, well, I guess I need something here. You know, I need to calm my body down. Like I need to stop thinking these kinds of thoughts that I'm thinking. So I'm like, well, what things am I actually thankful for here?
Mm,
Because this, whatever's happening right now is not helping, you know, and and so I was able to calm my body and take a breath and then consider some things I was really thankful for. And I started feeling more connected with others around me and even to an extent myself. Like I started again to feel more like myself again instead of this weird disconnection from that even.
yeah.
So I was thankful to have that chance to the skill I'd been practicing some and to actually notice that that was happening within me so I could do something about that.
Yeah, so you could notice like, okay, I'm not being my best true self. Something's happening. My circuits are going off, and then how do I get them back on? And you
Yeah.
mentioned, taking a breath. You mentioned thinking of things that you're thankful for. And so one of the things I just to mention is that once we notice our circuits are off, these some of these other foundational skills like appreciation or quieting, they can help us to get our relational circuits back on. And so these foundational skills really are interconnected, which is kind of cool. But Jason, just really quick, before we wrap up, I'm curious, like when you notice your circuits are off, or maybe even before you've had this skill and your circuits would go off, how would that impact your connection, say with your family, your wife,
Mhm.
friends, and how have you found that improving with this skill?
Yeah, it definitely impacted my connections again because I feel like this the way that I want to say it is just that I feel more interested in myself in those moments. I'm more interested in what's happening to me and how I'm feeling about a certain thing, or I'm afraid of a certain thing happening, so I'm protecting myself in certain ways so that I can avoid that thing that I'm scared of happening. And all of that is just sort of circled on my own bubble. It's kind of,
Mhm.
and so re being able to notice that my relational circuits are off um, is an opportunity. It's at the moment, at that point, it's nothing more than an opportunity. It's just a noticing. And then once I practice noticing, then I have that opportunity to to recognize kind of the truth of what's happening. And that leads me then to recognize, wait, this is not how I normally am, like how I normally act. And granted, I still need help. Like being in a community, a safe community where others can help me remember who I am is actually it's been really important for me too, because sometimes even if I notice, I still need help remembering.
Mm.
And so this foundational skill is a good and needed and crucial, like it's foundational for a reason, a step, because and skill, because then I actually have that choice. I actually have an opportunity to turn, to do something different, to do something about the way I'm experiencing whatever it is I'm experiencing,
Yeah.
instead of spiraling down. So that connection between others changes from the moment that I notice it. And with others around me that I can say, I can help you, it just changes so much how I connect with others.
Right. So it sounds like instead of getting just sucked into your own little world where you really can only see, okay, I can see me and my problems. Now I can actually be more aware of what's going on in me and letting people in so then I can be connected with other people instead
Yeah,
of
because if
isolated and shut off.
being relationally off, my circuits being off, I'm just disconnected and hostile,
Yeah.
actually. And I want to be marked by life and peace.
Yeah. Oh, that's
So,
beautiful. Thank you so much, Jason, for being with me today and sharing your story. It's been really encouraging to hear from you.
yeah, thank you.
For our friends listening in, if you want to learn more about the relational circuit skill, again, episode 6 of our podcast is one that Chris goes into a little bit more detail. There's a couple other podcasts on it as well, but you can also visit relation or sorry, not relational, Thrive Today .org/skill zero, which is our relational circuits page. And this has a pathway for learning more about this skill. We have a theory course, we have practice courses, we have a lot of free resources, as well as the book, The Joy Switch, which Jason mentioned today. These are all great resources to learn more about your relational circuits and how to be empowered to actually know how to do something about it when you notice that they're going off. So, hope that you check those out. Want to thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Relational Skills in Real Life, and we look forward to seeing you guys next time.